My UJAM story is like Goldilocks. You know, the first one was too little, and the second one was too much, and just right. Except for my story doesn't end with somebody crashing the party and burning everything down. Mine ends with making music a lot quicker and sounding a lot better. I had an electric guitar that I loved, just that bar chord, that wall of bang. I caught these glimpses in some of the session playing guitar instruments that I was using. Was like, wow, that sounds just so authentic, or that's such a great groove, other than the jigga 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 that you got when you strum up and down. Yeah, that's all you need, right? Well, yeah, no, but do you need that? Now, was that fret squeak? Was that your ring finger, or was that your index finger? We don't need that kind of detail either. Most of us don't need that. Your process is your process. My process is I want as many options as possible, but I want those options readily accessible, and I don't want to have to think about them. Just having to go through menus or this, that, how do you do this? And you may have this feature that shifts your patterns and does this and searches and all that, but it's just, I don't want the Encyclopedia Britannica. I just want a guitar player. I just want a guitar player that I can talk to. That is what UJAM instruments are. Players that you can talk to. So I was looking for a guitar. I don't have a lot of money, it's a hobby. I'm not a professional musician. Something popped up and I saw something for silk, and I saw that it was a nylon string guitar. And I was like, I don't want a nylon string guitar. Why would you ever want a nylon string guitar? My song, Ugly Wonderful, 100% UJAM instruments, starts off with silk, silk 2, gorgeous instrument. I digress once again. My first actual UJAM instrument, flash sale, something like $19, something like that, Amber 2, and I bought it. Because I can't try things. Okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna try something now. I need a practical application for it, and then I see if it works. It sucks, but you're gonna wait until I have a practical application for this instrument that's on flash sale, and then next time it's on flash sale, no. For $19, I was just like, I'll try it. And I loved it. I loved it. If I had a fairy godmother, what do you want, instrument wanter? What kind of instrument do you want? It was like, oh, so you've got these patterns, but you've always got the other stuff down there too. You've got the bread and butter. So I don't have to decide between these 4 or 5 patterns, this one and that one, then I'll get this and I'll get that. But then I've only here you got every key is a different pattern. And that's just the stuff that they all have. And then you've got here's your little flavor for the patterns and everything. I love that. Love that. The basses are like that too. So I had Amber 2. I'm one of those guys that you want the brands in the kitchen, all the appliances to match. You try to get your wife hooked on Sunbeam, and then she discovers KitchenAid. Anyway, so I loved Amber, and I knew that because I loved Amber 2, I had to have their electric guitar. So the first one, and it was funny how I was like, boy, I would love to have their electric guitar. I didn't even know what the different instruments were at that point. I just silk, Amber, okay, that's acoustic. Sparkle came up. And I thought Sparkle I don't know if I want something glitzy. I want serious electric guitars. Sparkle can get very serious. They all have a lot of flexibility within their own character, their own sort of personalities. It is tight and it's beautiful. Boy, does it really make some great music. The story that I'm trying to tell here, I just needed an electric guitar because I already had my drums and bass. I had everything that I did, just the electric guitar, and then we'd be fine. But it certainly didn't need any bass, any drums. That was all taken care of. That was all set. I had that down. I could play you the last song in my old system and the first song that I did, UJAM only. For other reasons, I hadn't written any songs for a while and hadn't done anything. So this was over 6 months. So I wasn't really doing any active producing. I was busy with other stuff, the YouTube channel that we're working on, just my day job, which is not music, it's video production. I tend to do music in these clumps, these chunks. There's spaces of time between them. Sometimes those spaces are a few months, and sometimes they're several years. Once I got my hands on Iron, I was like, wow. Because I had also looked at Carbon, and at first, Carbon's crunchy and delicious, just like, oh, Carbon is a great instrument. I love Carbon. I love Carbon. Carbon's a particular flavor. You don't serve red wine with fish. So I had Amber and I had Iron, and then I had my UJAM app up, and I was like, what's this? Oh, you've got some free stuff to finish your sampler. I don't think it's free anymore. And Drive. was free at one point. I don't need a synthesizer. I got plenty of sounds, hundreds and thousands of loud. Yep, I understand all of that. There was Drive, and it was part of this new. Okay, so I threw Drive into, I wasn't even thinking about beat makers. I don't do dance music. Drums and bass, already had that covered. Have my bass instrument drum kit that I love, my big chunky drum kit. Don't need any help with drums or bass, none of that. And then I read somewhere some of the drums and bass would pair up really well together. And I know that part of a sound bottom line is that tightness between the kick and the bass. How I used to make my bass line, I would literally take the kick part and I would copy it, and then I would just drop it down to the bass and then just change the notes. So my stuff was super, super tight. Didn't have as much life to it. It was quick. I didn't want to sit there and figure out a bass line. My drum stuff was just not drummer stuff. It was, it's like, oh yeah, that, okay. I was just more interested in putting the music together, and I'm a hobbyist, whatever. That was kind of an interesting idea that your drummer and your bass player kind of like each other, and if they like each other. So then I did the first thing that I've ever done. I actually downloaded the demos. Heavy is the drum kit that I landed on. So Heavy and then Rowdy. So Rowdy and Heavy, and all of a sudden it sounded like a band. I was in a band in the late 80s while I was in college. For most of the time that I was in college, I was in a band. It was the first time that it felt like real players, like people playing together. And it might be because it was the first time in a long time that I was not listening to drums that I had programmed myself, which was like, so for the first time, it felt like there were people playing back at me. All these UJAM instruments playing together. It was not surprising to find out that there's a reason why all of this stuff works so well for musicians, because it's by musicians. They understand what musicians want, what a lot of musicians are looking for in general. Some range of just do enough of it for me, but give me the choice. So UJAM is literally your cake and eating it too, right? It is so much fun to sit there and be within a pattern set and play with the different variations when you switch between patterns in the middle of a bar, and just the different things that you can play around with. None of it is this programming nightmare. It's all just, there it is. It's as you want it to be, and it's as whatever. And I haven't even gotten into any of the instrument parts of any of the instruments. I'm always on the player side. So I haven't gotten into soloing and anything like that. I don't even know what's available there. It would not surprise me if there's more available than I realize, because a lot of the stuff on the here's what we'll just do it for you, and they give you a lot of stuff. I don't think I've explained anything here. Have I explained anything? And then I got into the synthesizers. Once you have one, and then this thing comes up, a cinematic bundle, and it was like I got Strings and Carbon and I think Nemesis. Strings, Carbon, and Nemesis, and then I think Neo. So I got a finisher. Yeah, they're so smart, because once you get one finisher, you gotta have all of them, right? Look, you can get a bundle, and they're also reasonably priced. I know it sounds like I'm hawking their stuff. I'm not. I love their stuff. As I started to build this, I started to find that all of these instruments, there really is a purpose to each of them. They really do cover, like the beat makers. You would think, well, they've got to be just different versions of the same thing. No, they're all very different. Very different. Like different enough that like I tend to keep going to the, because once I find a color or a flavor I like, there I am. There's a couple of the beat makers I love. Void, I love Berserk, Nemesis. Nemesis and Berserk are the same thing. Yeah, they're not. And then when you start pulling patterns between the different drum machines, because they all operate on the same notes. Wow, can you do some amazing stuff? Where I meant to go with all of this is not where I wound up, but it feels right. It's not scripted, and I just really wanted to talk about how special these instruments are for people that want to just get going. They get you going, and it all works together.